As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
One of the worst performances of my career, and they never doubted it for a second.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Son of a bitch.
He stole my life.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Welcome back to the Shot by Shot podcast, where today we're finally talking Kelly Reichardt's newest film, The Mastermind, which is one that I was highly anticipating, but really surprised me. I didn't expect it to be quite as amazing as I thought it was, because it is one that I'd say has maybe had a mix of positive reactions coming out of film festivals and just people seeing it in general audiences so far. But I think this is one of her best films. Exactly what you'd expect from her, working in genre, kind of doing a twist on it version of what she likes to do, where she's worked in a lot of genres where she kind of like goes against almost what the genre is expected from it. And she does it again with a heist movie here. I'm starring Josh O'Connor, who is just like one of the probably best stars working right now. I loved him in this. I love this movie. It's one of my favorites of the year. And I love Kelly Reichardt now. I have just watched like 6 of her movies or something, and I love all of them. So yeah, I'm excited to finish off her filmography, and I think this is up there as her best. But Oscar, I know she's one of your favorite working right now. What did you think of this movie?
Yeah, this is such an interesting film, and I think it's hilarious seeing the reception, because I know she's worked with a lot of big names, like she's had Laura Dern, Michelle Williams repeatedly, Lily Gladstone, Christian Stewart, Jesse Eisenberg. Like, the list goes on and on. She's, I guess, just one of those filmmakers to a lot of people that are just people really want to work with her. So I guess it's kind of funny seeing Josh O'Connor, who's such a big star now, and you're right in saying he is one of the best working actors, and this just proves that. It's funny, like, people being drawn in to see this movie because of him, and then being faced with a Reichardt movie, which for people, I guess, who aren't familiar with her work, seem to be a bit stumped in a way. You see all those tweets like, oh, this is just nothing but a jazz music for an hour and 50 minutes. And it's so funny seeing that, I don't care for Rotten Tomatoes, because I think this has like 30% audience score. And like I clicked on like the reviews, and like so I went on there, and like some of them are just triggering in a sense.
90 in the critics though.
I know, true. But yeah, we don't really care in that sense.
Not,
but yeah,
not that it matters.
I expected to absolutely love this, and I did. It's funny seeing her speak about this film, because I think I saw in an interview, she's like, I keep on trying to feel like I want to try. She says, like, I want to try something new, but I always fall back into like my style of filmmaking, no matter what, which I think is really interesting, because this is a Reichardt film through and through. He's got a lot of tranquility and laid back vibes and aesthetic in a way that is fairly undramatic. But I think her drama is those big moments defined by the slowness with the way that she moves her narratives. But yeah, this is I had such a good time with this. I think it's one of her funniest films as well. Just really pathetic in the best way possible. This year is kind of the big year for the dumb white man. We got like Bob from One Bad After Another, and Joe Cross in Eddington as well. I think those three make an interesting trio of characters this year, along with J.B. Mooney, Josh O'Connor's character in this. And yeah, I had the best time with this film, and is topped off with one of the best endings of the decade for me.
And Channing Tatum from the Roof Man.
Yeah,
I don't know, the failed ambition, like tearing him apart, is a very good aspect, and obviously she does it in a really slow, meditative way. I I suppose I'm the general audience for Reichardt because my Reichardt bag is basically non-existent. I've seen Wendy and
What?
Lucy, but it was so
I was
long
about to
ago.
say, if you, we
I
did
don't
we did a
remember it.
watch party for that, didn't we?
I don't even
I think
remember
we
it,
did.
honestly. I know we did. I know I've seen it because I've logged it, but I can
Mm,
barely remember the film aside from the ending. I
mm,
gave so whilst I did enjoy this, and I said in my review, everyone's waxing lyrical about like the score and the way it looks, and the performances. Yeah, Josh O'Connor is like incredible as always. I like all that stuff. That my favorite part's like the subversion on the heist genre. I heard it was based on a real heist, but I like how they just there's no discreetness. They just all run into this. They attempt to be discreet at first, but then the plans sort of start falling apart, and they just run into this building, take the paintings, run past the security guard. That was like a cool subversion for me that I thought was really funny. After that, though, is when I started having trouble. I've heard she's known for doing really slow like character studies, but the stuff like the ladder scene that was killing me. That went on for so long.
That's
That was
one of
killing.
the best scenes in
It's
the
funny.
film.
Oh no! Outside of the heist, I really did not find it funny, and I know a lot of people have like been praising the humor, but it was not landing for me. I was trying to irritate you both by saying that I loved Roofman way more, which which I saw like right before this. I actually don't think that helped when watching this because pacing wise, they're like polar opposites. And Roofman's made for like such a general audience. That doesn't mean it's bad. I think Roofman's very good, by the way, but the audiences they're going for are very different. Yeah, so the slow burn second half, where he's like meeting with all these people in his life, it just I don't know was not connecting for me. But I don't know. I think I should deepen my Reichardt bag and then maybe come back to it because, like I said, I'm completely new to this, and it seems to be her signature style. And I'm not against slow character studies. Like I love
Mm.
Cassavetti. Um, they're slightly more explosive than this, but yeah, I think I need to deepen my bag and then maybe come back to this later on.
Yeah, she's obviously known for that, and there is that scene you're talking about where she kind of it is like used for comedy, like how slow he is, like putting the art heist in the top of that ladder, and it's so long and really funny the way she uses it. But I think it's more like instead of like I don't know if I'd describe it as like slow cinema, but it's more just like
Mhm.
the pacing of a 70s movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like just the way that like even the most popular movies from that decade, they're not like made the same way they are now with like the pacing
Mm,
intended for audiences. So it's more like I kind of just see it as more like not that she's kind of like doing that for the setting of because this is obviously set during the Vietnam War in the 70s, but I feel like a lot of our movies are just kind of like more suited towards that rather than just our style. Rather than it's not appealing to the way modern movies are made.
mm,
But yeah, I I really found that interesting. I always feel like she has like that's some of the best things in her movies. I think is her like commitment to like to the time of the movie. Like she has a lot of westerns that are like really accurate,
mm,
where actors have like actually committed to like cooking something the way that it would have been back then,
mm,
or something like that. And I feel like a lot of the accuracy in the costumes and the hairstyles and just the styles of everybody. And I think Josh O'Connor looks like a 70s actor. Like he's good looking, but he's
mhm,
also quite rugged and it looks like he's pulled from
mm.
the 70s. So
He
I think
does.
it's just everything about this reminds me of something that came out in the 70s.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and this film has this like really hazy lighting kind of visual effect, um, and I think it's interesting because there are a lot of sequences where you can tell it has like digital backdrops, but it's not in. It's like it's lit in a way that is it complements the fact that it is a digital backdrop and it's not it's not like a wicked or something where it's so horrendous and the backdrops are awful, but I think it's really interesting the way filmmakers are going around this kind of digital backdrops kind of thing, because some can light it well in a way that it fades into it fades into what is happening in the foreground.
I actually didn't notice the digital background.
I did actually. I think the one scene I noticed, there's a conversation where he's having with his mother about asking for money near the beginning, And I think you can slightly tell the backdrops are digital there, but I think again the haziness and of the visual style complements it well, and I think it is really interesting. Um, but yeah, a film as a whole, like completely ironic, from title head to tail. This guy is not a mastermind at all. He is selfish, completely incompetent, just such a naive and such a naive and ignorant view of reality. And I think Reichardt plays on this idea of little action really well. Um, Here, across the backdrops, there's Vietnam War is kind of the main backdrop of this film. There's protests and things happening, but I think that being the kind of action in a sense is really interesting because you see a lot of people complaining like, oh, like this is a heist film. There really isn't many big action scenes, but I think the action is um, the war in a sense, and characters like JB Mooney who are just completely politically naive and just the crux of the modern day blind man in a sense, who has no awareness of his surroundings or what's going on around him. And I think I know you mentioned Ryan, but the attention to detail is really magnificent, and that's just a thing across Reichart's films. The set design is wonderful. The production, I think, is brilliant in this film. Um, and yeah, she plays on the irony the entire time. For me, it never gets old or repetitive, and then we kind of come to an ending, which if you haven't seen it, please go watch this film. Is truly fantastic. But this guy is he's on the run from police. We kind of the second half is kind of this open road. Um, Film that kind of spreads its wings a bit. And I know people say, "Oh, this film is completely aimless," but I think people seem so set on the idea of plot nowadays that we can't have those kinds of narratives. But we get to this kind of final scene where he robs an old lady. He's getting really desperate for money. And he walks into this protest, and the film ends with him getting arrested, not for being a crook, but for being in the middle of a protest. And the film ends there. And is hilarious and perfectly in sync with what the film is going for. It's how you make an abrupt ending, and not have it be almost baffling, but somehow completely full circle to the character that Reichardt is portraying in this. But yeah, it is really really funny.
I agree. That ending is excellent, and I don't even love the film that much, but to have his like to sort of play on his naivety, where he walks into this massive like protest, and you know in the '70s what the police presence was like around protests. It sort of plays onto that aspect, and it is a really like because it's such a I would argue it is a slow film. I know you argued it wouldn't. I think it is, but I wouldn't say it's aimless. It's definitely I don't think it's an aimless narrative at all. I think that's like a buzzword people use to criticize films, but I think to have such a sudden, impactful ending after like all that slowness was quite a good choice. My issue with that second half though is that Josh O'Connor's so good. To me, it sort of felt like a one man band. Where when he's like in the house with the people he knows, I just thought their characters were quite. I don't know about surface level, but the connection they had with those people felt very sort of one note. I got that it was a burden to them, but that's all they really felt like. The conversations they were having weren't really resonating with me as much as maybe other people. And the film spends quite a long time in that setting. So yeah, that's my biggest criticism is the bit after the heist and before he robs the old lady. That whole sequence after he's left that house is like my main issue with that film, I'd say.
Interesting.
Mm. Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I was quite surprised at how much does quite happen in this movie because that was like the one thing I'd seen before watching it was obviously people said I think that's often a big complaint when something's slower than usual that nothing happens in it or if something's a bit
Mm,
more character focused than narrative
mm,
heavy or plot heavy. Um, but I feel like this changes the aim quite a lot compared to how other movies are. Our initial concepts are often quite simple. Like Meek's cut off is kind of
mm,
just walking through the desert. Old Joy is just a camping trip. Um,
mm,
When You Loose is
a lot,
pretty simple from memory.
yeah.
mm. A film that neither
But
of you have seen, though. Sorry. I guess Night Moves is the biggest similarity in our filmography, because that film is about three political activists who go and bomb a dam. And that's kind of the beginning half of the film. And the film isn't necessarily about that. It's mostly about the aftermath and effect. And incredible film, by the way. Is incredibly scored as well. I think it might. Yeah, I can't remember if Reichardt has if it's repeat composers actually. But anyway, another incredible film. But yeah, I think this is almost similar structure in a way to that film, even though they're thematically not exactly aligned. Um, but it kind of deals with the the action of the heist or whatever, and then the aftermath that follows it, and that is also um, yeah, similar in that sense. But yeah, out of her filmography, that's what I would say is the biggest comparison.
yeah, the heist is just like the inciting incident rather than the whole thing being about it,
Mhm.
which I was quite
Yeah.
surprised by. In a way, it's kind of the least exciting thing that happens in the movie is the heist. It kind of goes really smoothly until it doesn't, and then that's when the movie starts to get going. And like I think you said it, like the second half is basically just a road trip movie for the US. Um, and it started to remind me. There's the movie The Last Detail, which is 73, I think, it came out. And it's basically just like these three soldiers who are similarly traveling through the US and they're taking one of the soldiers to prison. So it's like he's
Mhm.
basically his last few days before he goes to jail for years and he's kind of contemplating
Mhm.
the time that he's about to waste. Because it has kind of contrasting the Vietnam War in the background, which is like I think
Mhm.
it's kind of similar to this where like so you wouldn't almost even realize that it's set during the Vietnam War until like, except from these like few moments where it's kind of brought up, and I think it's really interesting the way she kind of like does eventually bring it up. You almost kind of forget about it, like the character as
Mhm.
himself in his own life. But yeah, it doesn't quite have the war relevance of being set like around a soldier facing this like large amount
Mhm.
of time in his life disappearing, but it does have like this sense of benefiting the individual, like you were saying. Um, it's very like this character study over this guy who's just like very just interested in his art and thinking he's above everyone else around him in his life and someone who appreciates the art that's in this museum more than anyone else that he like it's almost not even about the money. I think it's more like he like, feels like he deserves to be the one that's looking at this art almost rather than
Yeah.
he's doing it for like a money like gain or anything. But yeah, it's you also have like these like small glimpses into the life of like during that time because you have like the John Magaro character like you were saying that he meets up halfway through and he has like contacts for like draft dodgers who are like in hiding in I think was it Canada or Mexico or something he said he has people known.
I can't remember actually.
Um, anyway, he just has like contacts with draft dodgers or like he hears people's experiences in the war while she's in the bar hiding out or I guess he's some people leaving in a bus as well for the war. So it's just kind of these like background things about the Vietnam War rather than it being straight around that.
Mm.
Um, but like you said, that ending I think is like when she's like really making her stance, where like it's not really about whether she's like he should be going out to war or and like it's wrong that he's not. It's more like he should be like at least being aware. It's almost like he's not aware of what's going on around him, and he's like he should be out.
Yeah.
He's not that he should be out there fighting, but he's like he's just in this individual mindset and that leads to like his downfall then because he's in this final scene where he's like at his most like individualism. individualistic at this like moment because he's just stole like an old lady's purse, and then he like walks into this like anti-war protest that he has no idea is going on, and then gets arrested, and he's got like no idea of what's even going on. And I guess it's such a funny and like unexpected ending where he's just like so self-absorbed and unaware of what's going on around him in this like moment, and it ruins his whole plan.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
such
I
a good
think
ending.
there's there's that one scene after he's stolen the paintings where he gets all the painting out in his house and just starts to put them up on his wall, and he's like, this like, what are you doing? Like the windows are open, and everyone can see what you're doing. He's just so obsessed with the art. But I think it's also really interesting. I mentioned this briefly in something that I wrote, but I'm fascinated by these kind of films that take stabs at like the varying valuations of art, and I think it's interesting this kind of museum setting that it's in, and the importance and value of art, like in a museum during wartime. I think is kind of what she's getting at. Um, but there's films like Frankenheimer's The Train, which is similar in a sense, is about art during World War II, I think. The Train is set, and it's about that, like how far these people are willing to go for to protect all these paintings and everything. During incredible film, I would recommend. But yeah, I was kind of fascinated with that, and it's so funny you were saying that museum arts, like, you think it's going so smoothly, but I think that's what I like. You think it's going so smoothly, but in actual fact, it's so bad. These guys are just rocking up like this one lousy guard who's just asleep the entire time, and these guys are rocking up in like I don't even know what they've got over their heads.
Pantyhose.
It looks ridiculous, and these in broad daylight just taking these paintings off a wall. And I think the film is based on the account of the girls that were in there. I think that's what I saw. I think Reichardt had like seen it in a newspaper sometime, and that's what it was based off. Yeah, and one of my favorite quotes from the film, I think, is one of the girls getting interviewed after, and I think she said like, "Oh, I've never even seen a gun before," as that one guy who kind of threatens the girl in the car that's parked out. But I think it's interesting in a sense this uh, American this change in America in a sense, but also they're going back to the political naivety of never having seen a gun before, like this aversion to violence in a way. I think is really fascinating, and Reichardt across the films is really digging deep into Americana as a whole. And yeah, I think she's one of the most fascinating filmmakers to do so. Everything is different. Showing up. I don't think you guys. Ryan, have you seen Showing Up?
I've not.
That no, that's also quite interesting. To do with art as well. But yeah, things like First Cow is like deep into the kind of friendship side of things and immigration. But yeah, I just find it fascinating, no matter what. And yeah, she has never made a bad film, and I never think she will. She just seems allergic to her to make a bad film. But yeah. Don't know what else I was going to say. Yeah.
I
think
love the. Sorry, go ahead.
I think the film's like a really fun, like ironic subversion on like Schrader's work and like those 70s high sort of films. If you think of a film like Blue Collar, it's like the antithesis of that with his character, Josh O'Connor's character. In those films, it's like a 70s America, man versus the system, usually blue collar workers or down on the luck and in order to escape like their financial situation, as a last resort, they decide to steal money. It's almost always money or something that isn't artistic. Um, Whereas Joshua O'Connor's character lives a sort of cushy life. He's definitely not living a bad life. He has a wife and kids. He's asking for money off his parents and stuff like that. But in comparison to those characters you've seen like Schrader or Manswork in like Thief, is living the high life. And I think that makes him much more difficult to root for because his ambition is so naive and selfish. He wants the art for himself, and obviously art in society has a higher value placed on it in a weird way than like a bank's money. Um, I think it's a really cool twist on all that, and it goes from making some characters in those films being someone you root for, as opposed to Joshua O'Connor, who slowly like degrades into a more and more pathetic character. I mean, he's literally stealing an old woman's purse in the street. That's how desperate he gets. And then the endings actually feels pretty similar to those films. It's really sudden and results in the characters' comeuppance. So yeah, the whole film, there's so many layers to the irony that if you've got like a good knowledge of heist films from that era that the film is set in, it's quite a rewarding watch, I think.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think, like I mentioned before, I think the the anti-heist element, like I think the lack of violence and action in this film is in itself the reflection of the naivety, the political naivety of the war in the background. Like this has no action in it, or in a sense, like the people we're kind of viewing this film in don't see the, I guess, violence that is happening around them. And I think there are brief moments of, I guess, violence. When the bits when he's realized his kids haven't got school, and he's like looking after them. He doesn't care. He like sends them off. Like, here's a couple of bucks. Like, don't throw up. And he like cuts like later like to the kid throwing up. Um,
It was like the
uh,
most 70s thing of the movie, maybe, like just him letting his like 9-year-old kid go away for the whole day.
um, and then there's bits where he's kind of getting dragged around by these other guys, where he kind of he goes and gets the art for them. And then we kind of get to the first almost shocking moment of violence, which is the end of the film. Violence, in a sense, where he does steal the old lady's purse. And it feels you almost feel something with that, because the whole film is led up to a lack of it, in a sense. There's pointing guns at people, but there's nothing really slightly explosive. And even though that scene isn't necessarily explosive, I think it is amplified by that anti-heist element leading up to it. And it is so funny, like when he's walking up and stealing the purse, like she looks behind and he's just pretending to like hide in a doorway.
It's like an
so
Assassin's Creed trailing mission, which just like hugs the wall.
It's so funny.
I feel like that's the moment where she like completely tips the scale of like you almost. I mean, he's like a horrible guy during the whole film. Like he's a horrible dad, a horrible husband, but like, and he's got, and she's working around that kind of like Paul Schrader 70s style character where they aren't a good guy. But I feel like it's using Josh O'Connor's kind of almost charisma where you want to root for him still. But in that moment, she kind of almost tips it over, and you're like, okay, no, like fuck this guy. Like he's just robbed like this old lady, and then that's like finally when she's like, okay, like I'm gonna end this. He's finally gonna get like called by the police. And it adds this like really satisfying moment at the end of the film. Because it's like right as you've like finally just like gave up on him as a character. Um, but yeah, I was quite surprised. I was kind of shocked how little Alana Himes, like his wife, is in this, because
Mm,
her like her movies are so like women focused than most of the other ones. But I feel like
mm.
maybe that is to kind of like push
A bit of a
forward the kind of
subversion.
like yeah, subversion. Um, yeah, it's kind of like pushing forward, kind of like how horrible of a guy this is.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you mean. I think it's really interesting. The second half, we see those the interactions Daniel was talking about that he doesn't necessarily like, but the John Ruggiero ones, and that wife as well. You can just tell from the way that, in particular, she acts towards him. There's like this is already a guy that they don't like seeing around. She has obviously she gets rid of him, but like he's already bad news in a sense. And yeah, I think it's interesting that the second half, obviously, the first half is contained in a sense to the town that it's in, and then it kind of it broadens as with almost the exploration of ideas and surroundings. You know, we start to see more war posters on the wall that are behind him, and propaganda adverts and things like that. But yeah, I like the change into this um, road film in a sense. But yeah,
Yeah, I love those like hotel scenes where like I don't know, someone leaves their passport in like the wardrobe of the hotel room, and he's like changing the photos, like cutting them out and changing them. Like, think he's gonna like he has some like mastermind. He's gonna escape the US, and it's all for like nothing eventually. I like those scenes. It's all very funny.
He becomes like really aggravating. He becomes a really aggravating character really quick. He's always trying to like slip his way out of a situation. Like he was on his phone to his mother, or like doing that passport thing, like you said, and then it all ends up with him literally stealing money from an old lady. I never really liked him from the beginning, the way his character was.
oh yeah,
And you're
I
on
think that's
about,
intentional.
yeah, I think it is intentional. But like you said, that's another subversion, because even though the Schrader characters are bad people, um, I usually am always rooting for them just because it's them
Yeah,
versus like the system. Whereas there
yeah,
is
I get what
no,
you mean.
the system's the backdrop in this. All this guy wants to do is have his own artwork, effectively.
Yeah,
Steal another person's
it's
artwork.
like he is doing bad things and is a bad person.
Yeah,
Which it is really really interesting. There's something else I was going to say then I completely forgot. Oh, that was it. Just his relationship with his parents as well. He's like always feeding off money from them. He's just constantly relying on them, and just it's his timid acting. In that scene with his mother where he's asking for money, he's kind of just so shrewd down. He's like, "Can I have some money, please?" I think he does such a brilliant job, and the the scene where he's kind of in the basement making the plan with those two guys, and they get the things on, and it's like his wife comes down. He's like, "Oh, quickly, just hide it." And it looks like a child trying to hide something from his parent, and it's literally his wife. Yeah, he's just such a phenomenal actor, and I think maybe this is my favorite performance from him. But yeah, he keeps on upping his game. And such a joy, and it's so good to see an actor of this capability working with such phenomenal filmmakers like Reichardt.
I really like the scene when you first find out the is it the FBI that's after him? They come to his house.
Ooh,
I remember
I
if it's
think
the
it might
FBI or
be.
just like it's like outsourced
Ooh.
police officers at least. It's someone from out of
He's
town.
the worst liar. He's such a bad liar.
Yeah, so he thinks he's like above the law initially because it's his dad's a
Oh
judge.
yeah, his
Yeah, so
dad's
he
a
thinks,
judge. Yeah.
and he does like do one over on the FBI or whoever it is, where like he thinks he's got away with it, but then it's again he was so like almost self-absorbed with himself that he didn't even bother to check like who he was hiring to rob this museum with, and it's
Mm.
one of the people that it's the guy that shows the gun. He like robs a bank like off the high of robbing this museum like 2 days later and gets caught, and that's like the first example of like his plan just like completely going to shit. And I thought that was really funny.
Mm.
But yeah, his that's our challengers. I'm not sure which his best
Yeah.
performance.
Two very different performances, and I always just find it so funny every time it's interviews. You know, like he's got the American accent, very on brand, on time for this, and he's just got like the cutest English, slightly posh accent, but like not
Mm.
annoying posh. Just yeah, rural is so funny. Is so funny.
Joshua O'Connor's someone I've thought I'd seen him in loads of stuff. I've literally only seen him in this and Challenges, which I'm shocked by.
Yeah,
I
he's
feel
in
like
it.
he's always.
He's great in it.
And obviously, he is phenomenal in La Chimera. What's that other film that he's done that I haven't seen? It's like God's Own Country or something.
Is that the Yorkshire?
I think he plays Prince Andrew in that. Is it The Crown? One of those. royal shows.
I think he
Emmet.
does. I think he does. Oh
No, it's one of the
is it
shows. It's not a movie.
Okay.
Interesting. What else was he in? Obviously, he was in.
He's in Wake Up.
He
Dead Man.
was. Wake Up.
Me
He was
too.
really good in History of Sound. Actually, I know people have had their say about their films, but I thought he was phenomenal in that film. And he's not even in it that much, which is a shame. But Paul Mescal's really good in that film as well. Their accents are on point in that. I slightly enjoyed that more than other people, but it's an interesting film. Fairly what's the word I'm looking for? Muted romance. It's very tuned down, but yeah, I think that film is better once it realizes it's a advocate for physical media more than anything. But yeah, he's still working at the top of his game. He's still working top of his game. Sorry.
Alana
He has an
Hayes
Emmy for The
character.
Crown. I didn't
Is it?
realize that.
Oh,
That's
really?
massive though. In the UK, that sort of stuff. Well, like Downton
That's
Abbey
like
is massive.
Downton Abbey.
Alana Haim's character was originally supposed to be Kristen Stewart, apparently, so that might be why that's such a weird role for her.
That
being
actually would have been
quiet.
so good.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that makes more sense now.
Christian, like the lineup she's working with in certain women is like, I'd be like 4 of the greatest actresses, working right now, which is crazy. Christian Stewart, Lily Gladstone, Laura Dern, and Michelle Williams. But yeah, they're all incredible in that film, and Reichardt just always manages to find a way to get performances out of people. I'm trying to think who else big as she worked with now. Hong Chow,
Well, John Magaro. That's his second.
John Magaro
film.
repeatedly. He's in First Cow. I think he's in. Is he in Showing Up? I think he might be in Showing Up.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Who else is in Meek's Cutoff apart from Michelle Williams?
Paul Dano, apparently.
Yes, he is. And Dakota Fanning's in Night Moves, I think. I believe. I think it's Dakota
I've not
Fanning.
seen that.
Yeah, please watch it. It's really, really good. Yeah, it is Dakota Fanning and Peter Sarsgaard as well. Phenomenal film. Kind of underrated in her filmography. I know some people don't rate it that highly, but I think it is truly incredible. Maybe my favorite score out of her films. But yeah, must watch. Really,
We didn't mention the score, the jazz score that's present for the whole thing.
It's so good.
Learn some lessons, Spike Lee, because that's not an annoying constant at all.
Who else is in Showing Up? No. Oh, Judd Hirsch, Andre 3000. And then her debut, River of Glass, which is kind of riding off this kind of Malik Badlands kind of vibe, the open road, very much so. Kind of these two people who doing bad things on the run, I guess, Bonnie and Clyde-esque if you want. But yeah, I think it's her weakest, but still good nonetheless. And Old Joy, I think, is kind of an extension of that in a way.
I loved Old Joy. It's like
it is really, really good.
Again, very simple. It's just like a camping trip, but it's about like two friends that are like reconnecting, like at a important point of their life, and they're kind of like falling apart. I really loved it.
That sounds Bombakian.
The guy kind of looks like Bombach. Like the main actor. But yeah, I think Meek's Cutoff is my favorite, where she's like kind of again, I like how she, like I said earlier, she does a lot of genre, but she like flips like what you expect, and like she does the western, but there's kind of like no violence really. So kind of them just traveling
Oh
across
yeah.
the desert the whole time. Um, and there's a lot of stuff with like, the Native Americans in it, but there's not like any big like moments where there's like moments of violence. It reminded me a lot
Mm.
of like one of John Ford's movies, which was
Yeah,
quite
but
different for him.
I think Me's Cutoff might be the best 21st century western. I'm trying to think of anything else that I know I love slow west as well. What else would I? What else is?
No Country,
Yeah,
but doesn't really count. I mean,
yeah.
I don't rank
I
it because
I
it's not like a period
I
piece.
still think I prefer Me's Cutoff to No
Yeah,
Country.
I'd maybe as well. Yeah, John,
Yeah,
go.
all stunning films as well. Me's Cutoff is gorgeous. Really, I love the way she uses the environment in that film to really tightly frame um, her subjects in that. There's some really,
Mm.
really neat compositions in that film. Yeah, I hope she. I want to see some more of like her working with the same actors again because her and Michelle Williams are such a fantastic pairing.
Oh yeah, Michelle. I already thought Michelle Williams was like one of my favorite actors working, but she's like
Mm.
even like further up after like watching how many great performances she has with Kelly Reichardt. She
And you
always works
haven't
for the
even
same
seen.
show as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
she
yeah.
does. And do you know, I just checked the composer for the Mastermind, and he's done like nothing else, which I think is really interesting. Um,
Mm.
Cinematographer Christopher Blovelt, who has done
All of her movies, I
everything
think.
from Night Moves, yeah, Meek's Cut Off, Certain Women Showing Up. He's done mid '90s, May December, Bling Ring, First Cow. He is incredible. He's so good. I think underrated in a sense as one of the best working cinematographers because yeah, her films look unbelievable.
Yeah, her filmography alone is like enough to put you up there.
Mm.
Um, he also done May December and mid
Yeah.
'90s. They look really good. But yeah,
Mm.
highly recommend The Mastermind. It's where
Mhm.
is it in the year for you? I think it's 4 for me.
Um, I have it fifth, but like I've given like 4 or 5 stars this year, and this is like the top of my 4.5s. So yeah, this hits fifth, but it's been a phenomenal, incredible year, and I think for me this sits. Where does this sit in her filmography for me? I've seen all of her films. Let me have a look. Where did I?
I
Maybe like.
said I think this is one of the hardest filmographies to rank right now from like working
Oh
directors because
yeah.
I think like all of them are like such like they're all great and they're like all kind of like
Mm.
similar quality. I think.
So I have River of Glass, Old Joy, Wendy and Lucy, and then Night Moves, Showing Up, The Mastermind, Meek's Cut Off, First Cow, and then Certain Women is my favorite. But I have like 5 of these at a 4.5,
Mm.
which is crazy. Just every bit my uh, type of director. No, I think it's interesting because it's definitely not. I would describe this film as slow in a sense, but it's definitely not slow cinema. Not at all. I think there's a big difference between slow and slow cinema.
Mm.
One is slow cinema is like observational, kind of fly on the wall, like minute long shots, and this is slow, but it's definitely not slow cinema.
I agree. Um, where does this fit in your ranking, Daniel?
It doesn't clearly quite lie. That's all I'll say. It's like middle for the year for me. It's a free. I didn't dislike it. Free is a good rating. I don't like people who think free
Yeah,
isn't a good rating, but for like
Yeah, that's fair.
solid mid.
the expectations of Reichardt, maybe free is low. But I need to deepen
That's
the
fair.
bag.
But yeah, um, we are going to go into a draft of our favorite heist movies. This isn't necessarily the greatest heist in all of cinema, but we wanted to talk about heist movies as it is the inciting incident in this movie. We need to get an order to go.
Oh
Um,
yeah, we do. This
I'm
is
gonna wheel up.
interesting. So I feel like there's like a few standout picks. I've kind of got a whole list of like 20 of my favorites together. And yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting, like what we define as a heist film. But
Okay,
ooh,
who will be going first? How many films are we drafting? 5?
5,
Yeah.
5. I never go first. Oh, damn it!
It's rigged.
Oh no,
Very
it is
good.
rigged. I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
I'd rather go last. Oh.
I'd rather go last, actually. Damn it, no, I'm stuck in the middle again. I swear I'm always stuck in the middle. Okay, so Ryan, me, and then Daniel.
I feel there's a correct answer for this.
Yeah,
There's
I've
the
got-
obvious one. Yeah.
There's the
gotta go
obvious
Heat.
one. Damn
Maybe
it.
maybe not the best heist ever, like the actual action of the
Oh,
heist,
yeah.
because he does like
Mhm.
skip over quite a lot of the heisting part of it. There's no planning. It shows a lot of like the gunfights after it, but I think this is the kind of like heist movie. Microman's one of like the heist guys. He's got another movie that I could have picked, which I think is possibly the best like actual heist of like the action of robbing the money. But I've got to go
Mhm.
with it. Got to go with Heat.
Okay. In that case, I'm just gonna take Thief. Michael Mann
Yeah.
again. I'm trying to, because I don't want to just go for my favorites necessarily. I feel like because some of them I can get further down the line. But so I'm going for Thief as my first pick without a doubt.
I get wheel pig, don't I?
Yeah, you
I
get
get-
2.
This is quite a nice combo, I think. I'll take Point Break.
Damn it!
That was mine.
I think this definitely is a heist film. Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3. I know it happens on a train.
Yeah, it
is
is.
a
That's a
heist
good
I
pick.
ha-
That is
I
a
had it on
good
my list.
combination. That is a good combination of picks.
So,
Really,
yeah, I'm very
really
happy
good.
with that.
I hate only getting one pick at a time. But feel like I've got to go Dog Day Afternoon. Classic,
Fair.
classic heist pick. Really, really phenomenal film.
One of the best one location movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Ryan, 2 picks. What are you going for?
my first one will be. I think this counts as a heist movie because the opening is a heist, and it'll be the first Mission Impossible by Brian De Palma.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
That's interesting.
that's not
I
what you
don't know.
describe the film as if you're talking to someone, I think.
Is it
I
not?
suppose there is a heist in it.
The
There
opening,
is a
like,
heist. To be
You
fair,
could
the
like,
argue-
heist is the inciting incident in the whole.
You could also argue the heist of the when he's like dangling from the ceiling.
yeah.
You could argue that.
Yeah,
the
there's
heist.
2 heists in it.
Yeah, I think
And that's possibly the heist of
Yeah.
all time.
Okay,
Go on,
fine.
then.
You can have it.
So yeah, that's one of my favorites. And I'll go Reservoir Dogs. I'll go the other one
that was
location
nice.
heist movie.
Um,
Yeah, it's kind of like unlike anything else because it's just like the last 10 minutes of a heist
I thought that
extended into
slipped
like one
people's
movie.
minds. How annoying.
Yeah.
if you're going Mission Impossible, then I can say that for a few dollars more is a heist film.
Yeah, it is.
They rob a
mean-
bank in it, don't they?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. That's fair. Okay, I'll give you that.
I've got 2 again. Oh man. So I'll go Sexy Beast 'cause there is a heist at the end.
That's nice. That was on my list. That's a good pick.
Oh, the next one though, I'm like, I'll go Casino. Is the heist in that? Is there?
No.
There's
Is
no
there?
heist. No, there's no heist.
This
in
list
Mission
is lying. This list is lying. I'm looking at this.
I
Okay, I'll go. Okay, I want to be careful. I don't want to rush it. I'll go Inside Man. I like
That's
that film.
nice.
I like
Nice.
I love the film. Okay. I will go for. I'm going to go for Melville's Le Cercle Rouge, a film which you guys have not seen, but that is a phenomenal. Maybe got my favorite heist scene in any film ever. It's like 20 minutes and there's just no dialogue. It's so good. Love that film.
I guess
Ryan,
in like
fine.
4 Stills on Twitter for that the other day.
It's really good.
Yeah, it looked cool. I have 2 picks,
Last 2 picks for you.
but I have another controversial one. Maybe I don't know if you're gonna let me have this. Does Catch Me If You Can count as a heist movie?
Oh, that's not a heist film. No.
The whole thing is a heist in a way.
That's a con film.
I
That's
think
not
you're
a
pushing
heist
it now.
film. You're
Okay.
pushing it.
Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I would go
fine.
for
Bad pick.
Edgar
though.
Wright's heist movie. Bad pick. No, I've got. I have 2.
Yeah, you have 2.
Prey
Wait a
Man.
minute, I need a second to decide this because I think you just stole all my like
I'm Prey Man will get picked.
lower picks. Damn it. I'll take the Mastermind.
Damn
I don't
it.
know.
No. Okay. In that case, actually, yeah, I'm gonna go for The Train, the film that I mentioned, John Frankenheimer. That is a train heist film, one of my favorites.
No, but they're robbing a train.
Yeah, wait, yeah, I was on the list.
I can't
let
find
me-
Train. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, let me just
Bullet Train. The poster looks like it.
yeah, the French resistance, however, wants to stop them from stealing their national treasures. Yeah. It is. It is a heist film. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, I was debating
Fair.
if it was or not. But yeah.
Right. My last pick.
What's your final pick?
Speaking of train robberies, this is a central plot point in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
That's fair.
Good
It's a great pick, actually. Any honorable mentions?
Tenet. Tenet is technically a heist film. I was close to picking that, kind of.
Honorable mentions, I'd give it
Ocean's
to
11.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's new.
Bound.
Bound. I was looking at Bound.
Bound, yeah. Ronin.
Die Hard.
Another Frankenheimer film that I was close to picking. Kubrick's The Killing as well.
Blue Collar, Straight Time.
Isn't Drive a heist movie?
Drive is a heist.
Is Park Chan-wook's The Handmaiden a heist film? That's
I don't. I need
there's
to
like
rewatch that.
that. There is a heist. There's an element of it.
there are elements of heist and there's twists and everything in that film.
Home Alone's
Logan
a
Lucky
heist
as
film.
well.
You could have Home Alone, genuinely, I think.
Inception's technically a heist.
True.
Bonnie and Clyde. There's a lot of bank robberies in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like The Town. I know some people don't. I wouldn't draft it, but I like The Town.
Like B-Tech heat.
True. What are the lists then? What have we got? Did you write it down?
Oscar has, yes, I did. Oscar has Thief, Dog Day Afternoon, for a few dollars more, The Circle Rouge, and The Train. I have Heat, Mission Impossible 1, Reservoir Dogs, Baby Driver, and The Mastermind. And Daniel has Point Break, Taking a Penhelm 1, 2, 3, Sexy Beast, Inside Man, and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
It's
They're all
close.
They're all very good.
Yeah.
I don't even know
Baby
who I'd
Driver
vote
lets
for.
you down, Ryan.
I
Maybe
think Baby
Driver
Driver
let
lets
you
you down,
down.
and I like it.
That's why.
does.
That's why you weren't allowed in our Edgar Wright glazing session last week. That statement right there.
Baby Driver let you down. That is close, actually.
But yeah, that's our favorite heist movies. In honor of the Mastermind. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. And let us know what you thought of it if you have seen it. And what's your favorite Kelly Reichardt movie, because we are big fans of her here. But yeah, we'll be back next week for something else. So.
Bye.